Hello everyone and welcome back. Myths, superstitions, urban legends, these are present everywhere in every corner of the world. And these are kept alive through stories and religious beliefs that are passed on from generation to generation. In most rural parts of India, the elderly of the house would advise against anyone traveling alone at night. It's not that they fear bad people with horrible intentions, but they also fear the presence of an unnatural being from the other side. They also advise against carrying raw meat after sunset because the smell is known to attract evil spirits. Today I'm going to share two incidents that happened to people I know. Mohini is a woman who's seen at night near deserted areas, mostly seen walking on the side of the road, and she always appears to be in distress. Her beauty is known to be exquisite. She is seen in white sari with long black hair let loose, and sometimes she is seen carrying a baby which is wrapped in a white cloth. If this demon in disguise sees a man all alone driving by, she tries to stop him to ask for help. And if that person pulls over, she points in the exact same direction the person is headed and asks if she can be dropped off. Of course, people who have never had an encounter with ghosts or don't believe in their presence would pull over to help a woman in need without even thinking, what was she doing there in the middle of the night, in the middle of nowhere? Mohini is known to stop only men. She is also known to have this fragrance so deadly that puts men in some kind of trance and lures them easily to their doom. So what happens to the person who pulls over to help her? Some say that he meets with an accident so bad that he doesn't survive. And some say that once he looks into her eyes, she disappears, leaving the person mentally unstable for days before he meets his end. The most commonly told story is that if she's picked up, she requests the person to drop her off to her house which is nearby, but that is actually abandoned and in the middle of nowhere. Once they get there, she invites him for a beverage. The house looks very normal, cozy and comfortable like any other. But once the person is inside, the house turns into an old, creepy, haunted house, and Mohini herself turns into a demon ready to prey on her victim. It doesn't matter what the story is, all of her victims have only one kind of an ending, which is death. Only those survive who are aware of such stories and do not pull over to help her. My aunt told me that during her college days, she had invited some of her friends home for dinner. It got a bit late that night by the time they wrapped up, and one of her friends couldn't get a ride back home, so he decided to walk. Back then, from where we were, there was not much of any kind of nightlife, and the roads were pretty much empty and abandoned as early as 9 p.m. When my aunt's friend was walking, the street lights started flickering and he saw the most beautiful woman standing a little away from where he was. Her description exactly matched Mohini's as mentioned in many stories. However, my aunt's friend, who never believed in ghosts or demons, was standing there mesmerized by her beauty. She then smiled at him and raised her hand to wave and to call him to go closer to her. My aunt's friend started walking closer and closer to her, but no matter how much he walked, he always found her a little away from him. He felt he was in some kind of trance that he couldn't get out of, like something was forcing him to go closer to her. I guess he was lucky that night because a car that was passing by honked loudly, saying that he was in the middle of the road. The sound of the horn woke him up and he realized that he was actually in a dangerous situation and that lady was not human. By then, the car which drove by had already gone and he was all by himself again. He could still see the lady at a distance, but she was not beautiful anymore. She had turned into some kind of an ugly creature, and now she was moving towards him. Not knowing what to do, he ran to the nearest house and he started banging on the door as loudly as he could, begging them to let him in. He recalls feeling the demon's breath right behind him seconds before someone opened the door and they let him in. My aunt's friend certainly escaped the clutches of a demon. He ran a temperature for many days after this. No one believed in his story except my aunt, who herself had had many paranormal encounters. Earlier, I had mentioned about our elders telling us not to carry raw meat anywhere after sunset. One of my friends shared this story with me when we were studying in the same college. Her ancestral house is surrounded with plantations, and there were not too many houses between their house and the main town. They had to either drive down a muddy road or take a shortcut through the plantations if they had to walk. One evening, my friend's uncle, who had taken the shortcut and walked to town to meet a few friends, decided to buy some meat and groceries to take home. All his friends advised him against it because he had to walk through the plantations in the dark. My friend's uncle did not want to come back all the way another day just to buy meat, so he decided to buy it anyway. By the time he had finished shopping and he was ready to head back, it was already dark. Although he had taken the same shortcut many times before, it was not easy to do the same at night. He anyway braved up, put all the groceries and meat in his backpack, pulled out a torch and started walking. All through the way, he felt like someone or something was walking right beside him, although he couldn't see anyone. He also heard weird noises like an animal gnawing at something and plastic rustling. He also felt that his backpack had gotten heavier. He thought probably he was a bit tired. He anyway rushed home, got there safely, and he gave the backpack to his family. After he freshened up and came to the dining table for dinner, his wife showed him an empty packet which had an awful smell. She asked him why he was carrying an empty packet in his bag with the other groceries and if there was something in it before. My friend's uncle was shocked to see it was the same pack in which he had kept meat, and now it was all gone. His family was terrified after hearing what had happened on his way back, all the things he felt and heard. They stopped taking the shortcut at night, let alone carry raw meat after sunset. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to click on subscribe and the bell notification. Have a lovely day and take care.